Welcome back to another hidden war story on USA Uncovered. In the Middle East, two nations have spent decades trapped in a dangerous cycle of fear, revenge, and power. On one side, the United States of America. On the other, the Islamic Republic of Iran. They were once allies. Today, they stand as enemies capable of pushing the entire world toward chaos. But this conflict did not begin with missiles or nuclear threats. It began more than 70 years ago, with oil, power, and a secret operation that changed history forever. This is the full story of the Iran-USA conflict. Chapter 1. The 1953 coup. In the early 1950s, Iran was led by Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh. He was popular, nationalist, and determined to take control of Iran's oil. At that time, British companies controlled most of Iran's oil wealth. Mossadegh wanted that money to belong to the Iranian people. But Britain was furious, and soon the United States became involved. In 1953, the CIA and British intelligence launched a secret mission called Operation Ajax. Their goal was simple: remove Mossadegh from power. The operation succeeded. Mossadegh was overthrown, and Iran's Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, returned to power with American support. Council on Foreign Relations +1. For the United States, it was a victory against possible Soviet influence during the Cold War. But for many Iranians, it was proof that America would interfere in their country for its own interests. That anger would never disappear. Chapter 2. The Shah and Growing Hatred. During the 1960s and 70s, the Shah transformed Iran. He modernized cities, expanded the military, and built close ties with the United States. America gave Iran billions of dollars in weapons and support. But many Iranians hated the Shah's rule. Critics were arrested. Opposition was crushed. The Shah's secret police, known as Savak, became feared across the country. To supporters, the Shah represented progress. To opponents, he represented dictatorship backed by America. And soon, a revolution began to grow. Chapter 3. The Islamic Revolution. In 1979, everything changed. Millions of Iranians flooded the streets. The Shah fled the country, and a religious leader named Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini returned from exile. The monarchy collapsed. Iran became an Islamic republic, and almost overnight, America lost one of its biggest allies in the Middle East. But the crisis was only beginning. Later that year, Iranian students stormed the American embassy in Tehran. Dozens of Americans were taken hostage. For 444 days, the world watched the crisis unfold. In America, humiliation turned into anger. In Iran, many believed they were standing against foreign interference. From that moment forward, the relationship between Iran and the United States completely collapsed. Chapter 4. The Iran-Iraq War. In 1980, another disaster began. Iraq, led by Saddam Hussein, invaded Iran. The Iran-Iraq War became one of the deadliest wars of the 20th century. Hundreds of thousands died. Cities were destroyed. Chemical weapons were used, and the United States largely supported Iraq during the conflict. Washington feared Iran's revolution would spread across the Middle East. Iran never forgot that support. The war ended in 1988, but the hatred between Iran and America grew even deeper. Before we continue, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss our next documentary. Chapter 5. Sanctions and the Great Satan. After the revolution, Iranian leaders began calling America the Great Satan. Meanwhile, the United States accused Iran of supporting militant groups across the Middle East. Economic sanctions followed. Year after year, the pressure increased. Iran's economy suffered badly. Inflation exploded, jobs disappeared, and ordinary people paid the price. But instead of surrendering, Iran expanded its regional influence. groups aligned with Iran gained power in Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. To America and its allies, Iran was becoming a dangerous regional power. To Iran, it was defending itself against enemies surrounding it. Chapter 6: The Nuclear Crisis. Then came the issue that pushed tensions even higher: Iran's nuclear program. Iran insisted its program was peaceful, but the United States and many Western nations feared Iran could eventually build nuclear weapons. The world entered years of negotiations, threats, and sanctions. Then, in 2015, a major agreement was signed. It became known as the Iran nuclear deal. Officially called the JCPOA, Iran agreed to limit parts of its nuclear program. In return, some sanctions were removed. For a brief moment, it seemed diplomacy might finally work. But the peace did not last. Chapter 7: Trump and Maximum Pressure. In 2018, President Donald Trump withdrew the United States from the nuclear deal. He called it a terrible agreement. New sanctions hit Iran harder than ever. The strategy became known as maximum pressure. Iran's economy fell into crisis. Oil exports collapsed. The Iranian currency lost value, and tensions exploded across the Middle East. Attacks on oil tankers, drone incidents, and regional clashes became more common. The two countries were moving closer to direct confrontation. Chapter 8: The Soleimani Strike. Then came one of the most dangerous moments in modern history: January 2020. The United States launched a drone strike near Baghdad airport. The target was General Qasem Soleimani, one of the most powerful military figures in Iran. America accused him of planning attacks. Iran called the strike an act of war. Millions attended Soleimani's funeral, and soon Iran responded with missile attacks on American bases in Iraq. The world feared a massive war was about to begin. But both sides stopped short of full escalation. Still, the danger remained. Chapter 9: The Shadow War. For years, Iran and the United States fought what experts called a shadow war. Cyber attacks, proxy conflicts, covert operations, assassinations. Not a full war, but not true peace either. Meanwhile, Israel and Iran also moved closer to direct conflict. Iran supported armed groups hostile to Israel. Israel targeted Iranian military positions and nuclear scientists. The Middle East became increasingly unstable, and the possibility of a wider regional war kept growing. Chapter 10: The Modern Crisis. By 2025 and 2026, tensions reached levels not seen in decades. Direct military strikes, missile attacks, regional escalation. The Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important oil routes, became a major flashpoint. Global markets reacted with fear. Oil prices jumped. Governments warned of a wider war. Reuters too. Even today, the relationship between Iran and the United States remains extremely dangerous. Neither side fully trusts the other. Both accuse the other of aggression, and the entire region continues to live under the shadow of another major conflict. So, how did two nations become bitter enemies? Some blame the 1953 coup, others blame the revolution, the hostage crisis, or decades of violence and sanctions. But one thing is certain: the Iran-USA conflict is not just about politics. It is about history, memory, fear, power, and revenge. A conflict passed from one generation to another, and until trust replaces hostility, the world may continue to fear what happens.